It always begins in silence, in that tiny pause where your brain hasn't decided what to feel yet. You freeze for a moment, and something inside you shifts before you even realize the shift is happening. Your breath turns soft and shallow, as if your body is waiting for a signal you haven't given yet. Your eyes move slightly, and suddenly the world around you slows down, like everything is waiting for your mind to catch up. In those first 10 seconds, your brain is already searching for something to protect you from. It scans your memories, your fears, your old patterns quietly, automatically, without your permission. There's a heaviness in the air, almost invisible, like thoughts are gathering behind a closed door inside your chest. You don't see them yet, but you feel the pressure building, subtle enough to confuse you, but strong enough to freeze you. Your brain always moves faster than your awareness, and this is where the slip begins. Before a thought forms, your emotional brain reaches into its memory and chooses a direction for you. It scans for the simplest fear it remembers, the most familiar worry, the easiest doubt. And without warning, your chest tightens a little even though nothing has actually happened yet. Your body stays still because your brain is preparing for a threat it can't quite name. Silence becomes a space your mind rushes to fill, not because it wants to, but because it feels safer to predict danger than to ignore it. This is why overthinking never starts with a thought, it begins with tension. A tiny shift in your breathing, a stillness in your shoulders, a small pause before you respond to someone's message. A moment when you stare at the screen, waiting for something. You call it overthinking, but your brain calls it survival. It's trying to protect you from being blindsided the way you once were. So it loops through memories, assumptions, and fears in tangled threads of what-ifs. All of it happens before your logical mind even wakes up enough to intervene. These first 10 seconds decide the entire story you're about to tell yourself. And once your mind chooses a story, it clings to it as if it were the only truth that exists. You replay old conversations, something someone said days ago, a tone that felt off, a message that came late. You imagine future problems that may never happen, but your brain paints them vividly anyway. You question small decisions that suddenly feel enormous. You analyze words, moments, pauses, and silences until they feel like warnings. None of this starts with thinking, it starts with a feeling. A feeling your brain interprets as danger, because it learned to do that long before you learned how to understand it. The feeling of something is off becomes the seed of every worry you grow. And it grows fast because your brain prefers certainty, even painful certainty, over the discomfort of not knowing. Overthinking works like a doorway you never notice opening. You look at your phone, or a blank ceiling, or your own hands, and your mind fills that space with everything you fear. You revisit moments from earlier in the day, someone's expression, someone's silence, someone's unexpected tone. You wonder if you said something wrong, or if you misunderstood something small that suddenly feels big. You mentally rewrite conversations as if you could change the outcome by replaying them. You imagine future arguments or failures to prepare yourself emotionally. And once you step inside that mental doorway, the spiral builds itself. One worry attaches to another, forming a chain reaction you can't slow down. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you, it's trying to protect you from emotional shock. It believes that if you imagine every possible outcome, you won't be caught unprepared. But in trying to protect you, it accidentally builds a cage around you. A cage made of predictions, assumptions, memories, and fear disguised as preparation. The pain comes quietly, spreading through your chest, your breathing, your mind. It begins to shape how you talk, how you listen, how you show up for people. You start to feel distant, even from people who care about you. You pull away, not because you don't want connection, but because your mind is too loud to hear anything else. A simple text message makes you pause. A late reply creates a story in your head. A small silence becomes evidence for a fear you've been carrying. The world becomes blurry because your thoughts become sharp. And the sharper they get, the harder it becomes to tell what's real and what's imagined. You think overthinking is something you choose, but it's not. It happens before your awareness catches up, before your logic is even awake. Your brain slips into this pattern because it learned long ago that predicting pain felt safer than being surprised by it. Patterns created during fear become reflexes, and reflexes repeat themselves in silence. Your body remembers moments your mind tried to forget. A tone that once hurt you, a silence that once scared you, a shift in someone's voice that once meant danger. So now your brain reacts before you understand why. It amplifies the smallest cues because it assumes they're warnings. You question your worth, your words, your choices. You wonder if you're enough. You wonder if you're too much. You wonder if you should have handled things differently. Your thoughts run faster than your breath. Your breath runs faster than your understanding. And inside that chaos, you feel smaller and heavier at the same time. But here's the truth your brain forgets. Prediction isn't protection. It's a habit. A habit learned from moments where your emotions weren't safe. A habit formed in the 10 seconds where your brain tried to guess what pain looked like. And because it happens so fast, you never notice when the spiral begins. But you always notice when the spiral takes over. The moment you become aware of the slip is the moment you interrupt it. Your stomach tightens, your breath shifts, and that tiny spike of awareness cracks into the spiral like a soft beam of light. Your brain pauses when your body moves even a small movement. A blink, a stretch, a shift in posture, a deeper breath. That pause opens a window big enough to change the direction of your thoughts. Overthinking doesn't begin with a thought, it begins with stillness. And breaking the stillness breaks the loop. These 10 seconds decide whether your mind spirals or settles. And every time you change the beginning, you change the entire story that follows. Your brain learns the new pattern quietly, the same way it learned the old one, through repetition, through small moments, through slight shifts in awareness. And soon, the moment that used to trigger the spiral becomes the moment you take control. The same silence that once scared you becomes the silence you breathe through. You stop walking into the hallway of imagined problems. You stay in the room you're actually in, with the present instead of the possibilities. Your breathing softens. Your shoulders loosen. Your heart slows. Your thoughts become less sharp and more human. And once the present feels safe, the future stops feeling dangerous. The spiral loses its power each time you interrupt it. And slowly, the habit that once controlled you becomes the habit you outgrow. It was only 10 seconds, but those 10 seconds shape the story your mind tells for the rest of the day. And when you shift those 10 seconds, everything inside you shifts with them. Healing doesn't happen loudly, it happens in the quiet spaces where fear used to live. It happens in the 10-second pauses that once felt like the beginning of panic. Now they become the beginning of clarity. If this moment feels familiar, then you're exactly where you need to be. And if something inside you felt seen in this story, then you already know why you're here.